Hello, hello everyone. Very good afternoon, all of you, and wish you all very happy New Year. Hope so. I am audible for everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Happy New Year, ma'am.
Happy New Year, Kshipra. Okay, let's start. I'm sharing my screen. Happy New Year, Anjali. Good afternoon. In last session, we have started our Unit 8, that is the recovery system and introduction to big data and NoSQL. So recovery system, there can be any case of in database systems like any computer systems. When database failure happens, we have to recover that data. So at that time recovery systems helps us. So there are different kinds of classifications: transaction failure, system crash, disk failure. In transaction failure, again there is a logical error or system error. Because of that, transaction may get failed. Then we have covered the storage type. So there are two different types of storage, that is the volatile storage and non-volatile storage. Volatile storage is nothing but it's a temporary storage. Examples of the volatile is the RAM, cache, registers. A non-volatile storage is nothing but it's a permanent kind of storage. So in that hard disks, magnetic tapes, flash memory, all these comes under the non-volatile storage. Then if transaction failure happens, so how to recover that one? So there are two techniques for that, that is the log-based recovery and shadow paging. So log-based recovery is nothing but it maintains the logs of each transactions, and writing them onto the some stable storage. Before actually modifying the database, we are doing the creating the logs. And the shadow paging, that means we are creating the shadow of the original table, on which we want to modify the content of the data. So maintaining shadow paging where the changes are done on a volatile memory, and after it get finalized, then later we are actually storing it onto the database. Now today we will learn the concept big data. So we already know the data. What is data? It's a quantities, characters, or symbols, which operations are performed by the computers. Whatever you are going to store on your computer, it may be a graphics, video, audio, text, PDF, everything. Whatever you are storing on your devices, electronic devices, that is nothing but the data. So what is big data? Big data and data, is there any difference? Yes, big data is also data, but the size of data is huge. But the big data is a collection of data that is huge in volume. Yet it's growing exponentially with time. ओके, हा पण एक डेटाच आहे, पण ज्याची व्हॉल्यूम किंवा ज्याची साईज ही खूप मोठी आहे ऍज कम्पेअर्ड टू ट्रेडिशनल डेटा, अँड स्टील डे बाय डे इट्स ग्रोइंग एक्सपोनेंटली. Okay, so it is a data with a so large and complexity that none of the traditional data management tools can store it or process it efficiently. Big data is also data, but with huge in size. Okay, so it is estimated to generate 50,000 GB data per second, sir, per seconds. In in the year 2018. So as it's generated per second 50,000 GB, the speed at which data has been generated is need to be stored and processed efficiently. It's a big challenge. Huh? It's a big challenge when we are dealing with the big data. Then big data emerges from multiple sources. There is no fixed source. Huh? And it arrives in many formats. Whatever we are going to store the data, it's in a multiple format. It may be audio, video, PDF, multimedia files, like that. Huh? There is no specific data. Till now we have learned the structured data, uh, which data schema of that database tables are the fixed one we are designing before entering the data. Means if there is an employee table and it consists of the name, age, then name should only include the characters value, age should include only the integers value. Okay, means data type is fixed, but while we are dealing with the big data, there is a no fixed source and no fixed type of the data. It- so it can be described in terms of the data management challenge that due to increasing the volume, that is the size, velocity, and variety of data, we cannot be solved with a traditional database. बिग डेटा कसा आहे तर त्याचा व्हॉल्यूम त्याची साईज पण खूप आहे, वेलॉसिटी म्हणजे स्पीड पण आहे, इन्क्रीजिंग वाढतो डे बाय डे, तो खूप वेगाने वाढतो आहे. व्हरायटी पण जो डेटाची व्हरायटी आहे, टाइप्स आहेत, तो पण वेगवेगळा आहे. तर जो आपण आता ट्रॅडिशनल डेटाबेस होता, जो एसक्यूएल आपण हँडल करत होता, तर तो आपण बिग डेटा त्याच्याने हँडल नाही करू शकणार आहे. तर त्याला वेगळ्या टूल्स यूज करावे लागतील. ते काय आहेत आपण तेही बघणार आहोत. It comes from the sensors, devices, video, audio, network, logs, files, transactional appliances, web, social media, and much of the generated in a real time and in a very large scale. Okay. So here the list of the difference between the traditional data as well as the big data. Now we got the little bit idea about the big data. As its name suggests, it's big in size. So traditional data is generated in an enterprise level, and big data is generated in a outside and enterprise level. Second difference is what? Its volume ranges from the gigabytes to terabytes only in traditional data. And in big data, its volume range from the petabytes to zettabytes or even exabytes too. The third difference is the traditional database systems deals with the structured data. Okay, traditional data deals with the structured data. Okay, but the big data deals with the structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data too. What are these terms? We will see today only. But big data consists of the data that is just, it may be a structured, semi-structured, or unstructured. Okay. Up till now we will learn RDBMS, that is the relational database management, and that we are storing the data. That is the structured only in tabular format. But now we are on the big data, that is the unstructured or semi-structured in a format. Then traditional data is generated per hour, per day, or more. But big data is generated more frequently, mainly per seconds. Okay. So fifth difference is the traditional data source is centralized and is managed in a centralized form. So if we are dealing with the traditional data, then there is a network like a client server, and on server we are there is a database server is there, and if there is a request from client, then we are from database server fetching that whatever the client required and giving the info. Okay, so it's a centralized form, but big data source is a distributed one. Okay, and it is managed in a distributed format only. It's a kind of heterogeneous. Data integration is a very easy in a traditional data, but data integration is a very difficult in a big data. Then seventh one is the normal system configuration is capable to process a traditional data. If there is a normal system configuration is there, we can manage that traditional data over there. But for big data, high system configuration is required to processing big data. As compared, now eight difference is the as compared to big data, traditional data size is a very small, but here in big data, the size is more than traditional data size. And to handle the traditional data, we are using the traditional database tools, and for handling the big data, special kind of database tools are required to perform any database. Just if you want to note it down, just note it down. Okay. Now, example of big data. Here are the following are the big data examples. Let's take the New York Stock Exchange, stock market, New York stock market. It is an example of a big data that generates about 1 terabytes of new trade data per day. Okay. Next example is the best example is the social media. Day-to-day life, usually we are handling the Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, like that. So the statistics shows that 500 plus terabytes of new data get ingested into the database of social media site like a Facebook every day. This data is mainly generated in terms of photos, videos, uploads, whatever we are going to upload, right? Message exchanges, putting comments, hmm? And here is a third example is a single jet engine. Aeroplane can generate 10 plus terabytes of data in 30 minutes of flight time. And with many thousands of flights per day, generation of data reaches up to many petabytes. And one of the best example is YouTube also. It includes the multimedia videos, n number of peoples adding day by day n number of videos from n number of locations. Okay, so this is one of the example of the big data. Then types of big data. Hmm. So according to the storage, huh, which kind of data we are storing, how we are going to access that one, how it is processed. Huh? So according to that, there are three types of data in big data. It is structured, unstructured, and semi-structured. The format in which we are storing that data, there are three types of big data: structured, unstructured, and semi-structured. So let's see first, that is the structure. Any data that can be stored, accessed, and processed in the form of fixed format. If there is a fixed format is there, then it terms as a structured data. The structured schema, along with all the required columns, it is in a tabular format. The structured data is stored in a relational database management system. RDBMS is one of the best example of structured data. So here is the example. Here, the employee table in a company database will be structured as a employee ID, name, gender, department, and salary. And whatever is the data over here present, it's a very well organized manner. Okay, so this kind of data comes under the structured data. Then next type is a unstructured one. So all structured, unstructured files, log files, audio files, images are included in the unstructured data. Means there is no specific format. There is a no specific format to store that data. Yes, data is available, but it's not stored in a specific format. There is a no specific schema. So then that data type is called unstructured data. So some organization have much data available, but they uh, did not know how to derive the value of the data since the data is raw. For example, is over here, if you are Googling on a Google search, so big data. So whatever is the result written by the Google search, it includes audio file, video file, text file, PDFs, everything. And these are the on a different way. Some from the website, some from the blogs, like that. And all are the unstructured one. So this is nothing but like this is the example of the unstructured data. If you want to note it down, just note down. First one is the structured. Second, unstructured. Now, The third type of big data is the semi-structured. As the name suggests, it's the combination of the structured as well as the unstructured. In semi-structure, the schema is not appropriately defined. Yes, partially it's defined but not appropriate in the manner. For example, JSON file, XML, CSV, TSV, as well as the email, OLTP, that is the online transaction processing systems, are built to work with the semi-structured data, and it is stored in a relation, that is the tables. And semi-structured data can contain both the forms of the data, so structured as well as the unstructured one. Okay, see over here example. Here we are storing the data, personal data. Here are tags are there, record in that name, then sex, then age. These are the XML file, and we are storing the data. Now, just note down semi-structure with example. Now, next point is the characteristics of big data. This is the one of the important point related to the big data, because uh, as compared to traditional data, it has a different characteristics. It's also called as a 5V characteristics, because every characteristics with start with a V. That is nothing but the 5V. First one is the volume. Second one is the variety. Volume, variety. Third one is the value. Fourth one is the velocity. And fifth one is the veracity. That is the 5V characteristics of big data. Just note down these. Volume is nothing but it describes a huge amount of data. Variety, different format of data from various sources, that is the variety. It also has a different format from the different sources. Source is not fixed. Then value, extract useful data. Velocity, high speed of accumulations of data, that is nothing but the velocity of the data. Then veracity, this is nothing but the inconsistent and uncertainty in a data. Big data is always in a inconsistence, and there is a uncertainty in the data. Now let's see each characteristics one by one. Yes, volume, this is the first characteristics, and by which we are giving the name to that. The big data itself is related to the size, which is a enormous. And big data is a vast volumes of data generated from many sources daily, such as business process, machines, social media platforms, networks, human interactions, and many more. For example, Facebook can generate approximately billions messages, 4.5 billion times. That the like buttons is recorded, and more than 350 million news posts are uploaded each day. Okay. So big data technologies can handle large amount of data. Size of data plays a very crucial role in determining value out of data. Also, where a particular data can actually be considered as a big data or not, and is dependent upon the volume of the data. So volume is the one of the important characteristics, okay? So which we will need to consider while dealing with the big data solution, okay? Then next characteristics is a variety. As we know now, the big data data types may be a structure, unstructured, or semi-structured, and that may be collected from a different sources. The source is not fixed. Okay, website, blogs, mobiles. It came from every uh, from anywhere. It will come. So variety refers to a heterogeneous sources. Heterogeneous means different, distributed, and the nature of data, both structured or unstructured. So during earlier days, the spreadsheet and the database were only be a sources where we are considering the data. But nowadays, we have to consider the emails, photos, videos, monitoring devices, PDF, audios. Hmm? So there are a lot of variety. So this variety, whatever is this variety, it's a unstructured data poses and certain issue for the storage, but we have to handle that one while we are mining or analyzing the data. Hope so there is a no doubt. If there is any doubt, any query, let me know till now. Is there any doubt? We are learning the characteristics of big data. Before that, we learned the types of big data, structured, semi-structured, unstructured. Hmm? It's very easy for you student, I think so. Okay, let's see the next proper characteristics, that is the veracity. Hmm? So veracity, what is the data available in big data? As we know, there is a variety. It's big in very big in volume. Source is not fixed. Huh? So there is a no any consistency and stability for that data. But veracity is the process of being able to handle and manage that data efficiently. Hmm? So big data is also variable because of the multitude data dimensions resulting from multiple disparate data types and sources. And veracity means how much the data is reliable. Hmm? It has many ways to filter or translate the data. And big data is also essential in a business development too. For example, over here, the Facebook posts with hashtag. Hmm? Is there any similarity in hashtag? No, not at all. According to user, it get change. for same post even. That is the inconsistency in that data. Then next one is the value. Fourth characteristics. As big data is huge in size, but just we are storing the data, we are having data, but no value of that data, then what's the use of that? It's it's not good for the company as well. So value is an essential characteristics of big data. It is not the data what we are processed or stored. It is a valuable and reliable data. Valuable and reliable data that we store, process, and analyze. The bulk of data having no value of is of no good to the company unless you turn into the something useful. So data in itself is of no use or importance, but it needs to be converted into something valuable to extract information. Is it? Hence, you can state that the value is the most important. Hmm? This is one of the most important characteristic of all the 5V. Then the last character, that is the fifth one, is the velocity. Velocity is nothing but it's concerned with the speed. Still the data is big in size. Uh, it also have a many kind of variety of the data, but whatever is there we have to maintain, we have to provide the speed, that database. Then velocity refers to high speed of accumulation of the data. The big data velocity data flows in from sources like machines, networks, social media, mobile phones, etc. There is a massive and continuous flow of data. This determines the potential of data, that how fast the data is generated and processed to meet the demand. Then if you think about the Google search, though the other search engines are available in the market, Yahoo, Reddit, or and you know more than me, Hotmail. So, but in that, still the Google is very much popular. It also handles the big data. Why? Because it provides the characteristics, velocity very well. What's the speed of result? We all know it very well. So though it's having the big data, it provides the result within a fraction of seconds only. Because and which is the one somewhat accurate, not exactly accurate, but related, more accuracy in there. So big data velocity deals with the speed of at the data flows and source like application logs, business process, networks, social media sites, sensors, mobile devices, etc. And example, there are more than 3.5 billion searches per day are made on Google. Also, Facebook's users are increasing by the 22%. It's approximate value year by year. Okay. This is all about the big data. We just learn the introduction of the big data types, characteristics. Okay. Types of data, characteristic. Is there any doubt? Let me know. Any query, any doubt? Okay. We will stop here only today. Attendance, please. Roll number 1.